What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Blitz.
To the Blitz.
To the Blitz.
To the Blitz.
To the Blitz. You feel
With
me?
the soundboard.
You feel me? You
Yes.
feel me?
Okay.
Thank you guys so much for coming in. We're going to have a good time today.
Come on.
All right.
I was ready.
I was
ready. I was about to start tapping my feet.
We got the pod. We got the soundboard back.
Yes. I don't know what you were about to say, but
Right. I was about to say we got the podcast back, but like,
oh, we couldn't find it.
we lost it.
Thank goodness it's here.
No, we are here and we're ready.
Before we get into it, I've been hearing from some not new listeners, I guess, but people who have listened, been more tuned in lately. People with a lot of suggestions, ideas, comments, and just general support. And I think that's been very cool. I appreciate that sincerely. It makes it a happy thing.
For sure. If we don't have any, I'm sure we've said this probably numerous times. But if we didn't have y'all,
Just
what would the podcast even be if no one's listening to it? Like, you guys make the podcast. You know what I mean? Without you guys, there would be no podcast, obviously.
facts. Clap it up for the listeners,
Clap it up.
but not with real hands.
Yes.
Just using the.
Do you
the
remember
keyboard
what you
shortcut.
tried to do last episode, clapping? The worst.
Oh, all right. Go listen to episode 13 if you're curious.
If
I'm
you're
not
curious.
I'm not
know,
disclosing that information here.
We can never, man, once you go soundboard, your life is changed forever. You can't go back. You can't revert.
There's no point in pushing
Initiation.
that. There's no point in pushing that. I just don't think the listeners have heard enough of that one.
Enough. I think they've heard enough, which is
Okay.
none.
I've heard enough of your...
What are we talking about today, Elijah? Oh, we forgot to intro ourselves. I'm Isaiah.
and I'm Elijah.
All right, bet.
Cool. So, while we were thinking up this episode, I was thinking of you guys.
Aww.
Our wonderful listeners, beautiful in every way, in form, and fashion, more elegant than my
I'm starting to think he
speech.
don't believe it. He's stuttering. He's lying.
I said more elegant than my speech. I guess that
He
isn't
tried to
saying
save
much.
it. He tried to
I
save
even
it.
stuttered when I was saying that. Anyway, trying to pull me off track. I was thinking about our wonderful, elegant, regal listeners. Right,
Eagle.
regal. That's cool. Dignified. And I was thinking about what they're thinking as they're listening.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm imagining them. And, of course, I'm tempted to use the same two examples of driving or cleaning because that's when I would listen to a podcast. I ain't got no car or a license. But I can clean though. Anyway.
I did it.
Hallelujah. Shout out to my hallelujahers. Is that a word? Yes,
Sure.
it is.
I feel like you can't even say it all the way through.
Hallelujah. Yeah,
Hallelujah.
it's gonna cut off after a while. But anyway, if you don't know about that, you out the loop.
You are. You haven't been listening in a minute. You got to go back. You gotta get with it.
Go ahead, click off right now. Go listen to the other one. I'll wait.
The
All right,
whole
thank
thing.
you for coming back.
Welcome back. I know it's been 4 days.
Anyway, but in these situations, let's say you are driving or you are cleaning or you got your headphones in for whatever reason, you are most likely, universally, in these circumstances, alone. You are by yourself.
All by myself.
Yes.
All
All
by
right, bro. I
myself.
went to go hit the shortcut to mute the thing. Like I could mute you in real life. If only, right, guys?
Wow.
I'm just playing. But
You could. My volume's right there.
that's dangerous.
Anyway,
I'm gonna break this whole setup. Anyway, I wanted to talk about being alone. That sounds horrible. That's not what I meant. I wanted to talk about the time that we all spend.
This man is sad.
The time
Pray for my boy.
and prayers in the comments. No, what I meant. Why is that so funny right now? What I meant is the time. Listen, all right, the time that we spend by ourselves.
Yes.
The time we spend by ourselves.
Yes.
Because the time you spend by yourself is a very unique type of time. Like,
yeah, that is true.
It could be me and you, like it is right now. We're hanging out in the same room. That's why we have the soundboard. And, you know, it's me and you. It could be me, you, and one other person. That's a little different. Me, you, and a fourth person. You know what I'm saying. 4 people, 5 people, or 100 people.
Sure.
It's still me and people, you and people, right? The utter distinction is so clear when it's just you by yourself.
Oh.
So we still think.
I was about to go and break out in the song once again.
No, thank goodness you didn't. Everybody would have disliked and then clicked off and then came back and left a negative comment and liked their negative comment and then clicked off.
And then left a positive comment and disliked it.
Which, of course, you have done before. Yo, please save me from my co-host.
Bro, that was the... All right, can I...
Go ahead.
I was listening to a song. It was this random song that I found on YouTube. And I was like, the beat started. I was like, ooh, this beat's kind of good. So then I commented, this is fire. And then the song started. And I disliked my own comment. I was like, this is not fire.
So stupid.
I changed my mind.
I'm like, so he goes back to the tab. I'm like, oh, he's going to delete his comment. He's going to reply and say, never mind. He disliked his positive comment.
It was so funny to me. I don't know, bro.
Definitely one of the strangest people I know. I won't lie. I'm
bro,
here for it.
I don't know what he means. He's been saying this for a few days.
We have got to go ahead.
Now.
We can answer comments about this as our personal accounts.
All right.
And not the fly account replying in informal ways.
Whatever.
Anyway.
Do y'all think from listening to me on this podcast, who's weirder, me or Elijah? You said we're both the same amount of weird. That's exactly what I'm saying. All right. Back to the topic at hand.
Back to the topic at hand. Being by yourself is very different from any other type of circumstance that you could be in. And even though we have the same brains as we do in other times, or the same memories, or the same whatever, I think everybody thinks and acts differently when they are by themselves.
I don't know, man. Every time you say by myself. Oh
my gosh.
Right.
So when you are alone, but that sounds sad. By yourself is way different.
Yes,
On your own?
Yes.
Okay, so Isaiah, what do you think I could mean by that? Like, what in your fast opinion is different about the way people act when they're by themselves, alone?
2 things. One, I feel as though when you're by yourself is when you are truly you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You are who you are with no outside influence.
Right.
Or anything. And 2, kind of going off of that, you aren't, anything that you do, you can do without fear of what someone might think, might say, might judge you based on. And, you know, this could be regular things like, you know, I like to knit by myself or something, but I don't know, people would be, you like to knit?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, yes.
Why?
And they'd be,
why knitting?
I don't know, they would judge me for knitting.
Oh, yeah. All right. I was
guess.
going to do the Arthur thing, but
No,
I will not.
No, you won't. Or maybe it'd be something weirder,
sorry.
and it's, you know, you doing something and it's like people would judge you as they should.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're by yourself, ain't nobody around.
Yeah.
So you just weird.
I understand. The thought that came to my mind when I was writing the notes is that people do embarrassing stuff, but it's just minus the embarrassment. So, like, I would be embarrassed to sing a song in front of people, with I don't know. I don't want to say anything inappropriate while in some pajamas, right?
Sure.
But when you're by yourself, it's like you don't even have to think twice about it. If you feel like doing it, you could just do it.
Yeah.
It could be completely embarrassing, but there's no embarrassment because there's no one there.
Right.
Sometimes, yeah, we'll get into that. But there's also thoughts that you might have. They go through your head, and when you're with someone else, you might share them. Like I could share them with you right now. Hey Isaiah, I'm thinking about chocolate and peanuts.
Hey Elijah, I'm thinking about European countries.
What?
I'm thinking about Italy, bro.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Right? But that's different if we share it. If you're by yourself, there's all kinds of thoughts that you might never think to bring up to someone else. For example, I did end up bringing this up to other people. I think I just told you this earlier today. But for the listeners, right? The other day I was at church. There's a coffee pot.
Okay.
There's a coffee pot in the entrance, and the coffee was brewing in there, and it made a funny noise. And this is not like a church day. I was just at the church, the building, and so there's not a bunch of other people there. But it starts making this funny noise that it doesn't usually make. And I'm sitting there, and I'm going about my business, just like organizing some stuff or something, and it makes the weird noise. And I look up at the coffee machine. I'm like, yeah, I feel you. And I just keep doing what I was doing. But then afterward, I was like, yo, what am I talking about?
But I'm weird. This man is talking to coffee pots.
I know they'd be doing weirder things when they're by themselves. Don't lie, you listeners. You're lucky you're safe on the other side, on the receiving end. We're out here putting our lives on the line.
This man said, I feel you. He's talking to coffee.
It was a little funny to me, but it's not like I laughed. I didn't even smile. It was like, it would be slightly humorous to say, I feel you to this coffee pot. But
okay, but
just, yeah.
You don't got to be by yourself to do that. I do that.
But it's weird to do it by yourself.
Like, let's say the TV or something.
Right.
Or like,
Shout out the TV.
Turns on.
Okay.
And it makes the little turn on noise.
Doom, doom.
Doom, doom, or whatever.
Right.
And I look up at it, I'm like, and that's it.
No.
I'm like, yep.
No.
Turn it on. The TV just turned on, Doom, doom, doom.
Who knows?
I might do that. And if people are in the room, I still might.
Yeah. Y'all let us know in the comments. Do you ever just talk to objects like not talk to objects like Wilson in the wilderness?
I don't know what that means.
Wilson, the
volleyball?
Yeah.
What?
From the like talking to an object like that.
Oh, what is that
Wilson. Called? Schizophrenia?
No.
Imaginary friends? Oh. I don't know, like Survivor or something. Somebody's mad at me for not knowing. I'm sorry.
Anyway, yes.
But yeah, let us know in the comments. Don't tell me if you're talking to objects like you think they're talking back. But do you ever just blurt out a little comment and it's like, yeah, there's no one else here to hear me? Or is it just me and Isaiah who are insane? If that's the case, don't tell us. Bro,
insane is not the word.
My bad.
The word is unique.
I'm sorry.
No, the word is unique. Oh my God.
Yeah, he really did say that last time. We have a new censor feature. I don't know if we might use it very much.
Probably not ever.
Yeah, because it
maybe
sounds
to
like
censor out people's names because we don't want to,
okay, so we could just,
anybody.
Yeah, we could tell a story, a real story. Yeah,
but I said, I don't even remember what I said. Elijah has discombobulated me. Let's move on.
No, but. And I've heard in a lot of sermons or just different conversations that people will have that you can become strange if you spend too much time by yourself. Like I remember Dad specifically saying that, and it was in a humorous way. He was like,
Dad.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Our pastor.
Dad.
Yeah, but Dad.
I mean, yeah.
Not everyone knows that.
Yeah. But he was like, if you spend too much time alone, you can become strange. And
All right. So how much time have you been spending alone?
Okay, you're so funny, aren't you? We don't have a laugh button anymore? Dang it! I hit the old shortcut. My heart is broken.
We never used it.
I should have used it right there.
Yep.
Laughing at your unfunny joke. No, but anyway, what do you think about that? Why do you think people say that?
That you get weird when you're alone?
Yeah. What's wrong with being alone?
I don't think there's really anything wrong with being by yourself, but it's when you now come around other people and now you don't know what to do. You don't know how to act because you become too comfortable where the things that would be embarrassing, that should be embarrassing.
I feel you.
You've never felt that embarrassment because you've been doing them by yourself. So then you come out of the darkness and you're knitting, and then they're like, "You knit," and all of a sudden, shock. No way. People are gonna judge me because I knit. I didn't think this could ever happen. And then I mean, I'm using knitting as a very tame example,
right?
Because obviously people be doing weirder things when they're by themselves. And then they come out, with whatever they're doing because they're comfortable with it. And then when people call them out as weird, it's because, it's weird. I don't know. It's because, you got really, really comfortable by yourself.
Yeah, no.
And whatever it was that you was doing.
Being alone sometimes can be a little too much freedom.
Yeah.
Because you can be doing things that you ain't supposed to and getting away with it.
Yeah.
On a different kind of note, with the same sentiment though, does that make any sense? Huh? If you spend a lot of time away from other people, there's still ways that you can interact or at least take in things from the world around you. For example, what you see on your phone. So like, somebody can be completely by themselves right now and they're listening to this conversation. That's actually very likely. And you may subscribe to certain people, the Fly Podcast, or
appreciate y'all.
Did you hear something? So you could subscribe to certain people, or there are certain people that you like watching on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok and whatever. And you hear all the things that they say, and you're by yourself, and you're like, yeah. So if there's something crazy, let's say we say something crazy on the podcast, and you. What in the world? I promise there is no profanity on the other end of this episode, but my brother is ridiculous. Anyway, but if we're saying ridiculous stuff on here and you, the listener, are like, "Oh man, this podcast is so cool," and you hear us say something ridiculous and you're like, yeah, no, for sure. This is that podcast that I like. And you don't go talk to other people that would correct you about it, you might be in trouble.
Maybe.
So being by yourself for you might have the freedom to hold on to some ideas that aren't beneficial. They don't really work with the whole world around you.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about the opposite end of this.
Okay. Sure.
You can also spend too little time alone. That is very, very real.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, sure.
I think it is commonly overlooked because somebody said something like this in a TED Talk we had to watch for school, that usually it's the extroverted personality traits or things that are related that are always being celebrated and always being brought attention to. And you look, the great world leaders, speaking to the masses and, doing whatever.
Right.
But then the people who are spending some time by themselves in the background don't get any credit for whatever they produce. But what I was getting to by saying that is that people can say a lot about why it's bad to spend time or too much time by yourself, which I agree with, but never get around to talking about how it is important to have that little bit of time.
Right.
Why, in your opinion, is it necessary to have that little bit of time? Or do you not think it's necessary?
I for sure think it's necessary.
Word.
But as someone who loves his alone time, I have no idea why.
What do you mean?
Like, trying to put a reason for why it's important to have time to yourself is hard to explain. Yeah, like for example, I've heard stories, examples of people who are like they're in marriages. Yeah, they're married.
Okay.
And even in that, till death do us part, super awesome relationship. Sometimes even they,
shout out to our married listeners,
even they need time to themselves for whatever reason. Not like, I'm going off alone for a few,
Don't call me babe. I'm going to Colorado.
Or whatever. Like, hey, don't be foolish and
there go my plans.
Ruin your your marriage. Right. I actually need to be by myself for a few months. Like, no.
Figure it out, honey. I'll be back. Maybe.
I'll be sending you checks in the mail. You can have $4. Anyway, no. But even in these relationships, it's important to have your own time to yourself. I think it's because maybe there are some things that maybe you find enjoyable or important or whatever that maybe someone else might not, but it's important to you, and you have to be by yourself to enjoy it, I guess. Or like, let's say, because this is the Frontline Youth Podcast.
Right.
So let's say you are praying for something, and obviously your prayer life is a personal thing. It's your personal prayer life.
Yeah.
Right? It's good to be by yourself when you're praying. Not that it's good to be by yourself, but like there are times when you need to be alone with the Lord. Yeah?
Yeah.
So,
definitely.
That can play a role where, your personal worries, your personal concerns can be expressed again, without the fear of judgment, without the worry of embarrassment. Because sometimes, there will be things that you want to express that you might not feel comfortable expressing with anybody but the Lord,
right.
with God. So, I don't know. Maybe that plays a role. But again, it's hard to put a reason behind it. Like, it's just, I feel like we just know it's a good thing.
Who's we?
Humans.
Oh, yeah. I think I agree. I think there's a multitude of reasons why someone would value their time by themselves, and it really can't be narrowed down into like one specific thing, because it might be a different thing for a different person or a different thing every day for the same person. But I've noticed that whenever there's a lot of people around, there's usually because there's some kind of event going on or some kind of expected gathering or whatever.
Yeah.
And so you can be caught up in the fray of, oh yeah, I'm doing this. Oh, I'm talking to so-and-so and doing this and doing that or whatever. And then you could have maybe an activity of your own that you want to get to, or you could have just a bunch of thoughts that you want to process, and it gets overwhelming because you're just going from thing to thing, to person to person to person. And I've been in situations like that before where I won't even notice it going on, but I'll go to the bathroom or something, and I close the door behind me, and it's quiet. I'm like, oh. I'll be in there taking extra long because I'm like, recalibrating, not in some terrible way like I'm repairing my broken heart in the bathroom before I get out. But,
what in the world is this man talking about?
I'm saying it's not like I'm having some kind of emotional episode in there, but it's really just
never mind.
And obviously I haven't had experiences with other people in their alone time because that's not how that works.
Facts.
But I'm pretty confident that this is more widespread than just me. I think there are other people who sometimes they'll find a little break and they will extend that little break because you got to use your brain for a second. You can't just be going and going.
Yeah, that's true.
But at the same time, I don't think I could just be in there recalibrating and using my brain for like 6 straight days.
Yeah.
There's got to be some going.
A lot. Yeah. But yeah, maybe it's the idea of like thinking, coming up with your own ideas, not necessarily, like a lot of times when you're with a lot of people, what you're doing is responding
Right.
to something that they've said,
Big bars.
in which they respond to you, you respond to them, or whatever, and that's how conversation works.
Yeah.
Conversation is great, but like, that it's not going to be nearly as, it's not going to be the same as when you sit down or lay down or whatever, and you're thinking about things by yourself, thinking about how you really feel about whatever. And, times like that are important, I would say.
Cool.
Yeah.
I agree. So, to the listeners, in short, I guess we don't really need to, but I like to. I enjoy summarizing.
The recap.
Yes, the recap is one of my favorite
have
parts.
The recap.
For the listeners concerning this subject, from my side, we'll get to Isaiah's side when I'm done with my spiel. But
Spiel,
yeah, that's how that works.
There's a sh in there.
Steven Spielberg.
No,
Anyway,
I think he's just Spielberg.
Got you. Make sure that you're having enough time to maintain your thoughts stably, to understand really what you would like to do, who you would like to be, to feel rested. If that's available to you, don't take that time for granted. And sometimes you need to spend some time really considering stuff, and you can't spend that time on your phone. Your phone be trying to push stuff in your face the whole time, and you might miss out on some good me time, or you time, I guess you would call that.
Yeah.
And that way you can be more charged up. You can be ready for when you go out and there's other people. Your thoughts can be together. You don't have to be an emotional wreck because you figured your stuff out. You spent that time by yourself praying. You spent that time by yourself thinking, sleeping. Those are some great activities right there.
Yeah.
All right. That's all I got.
Yeah. I guess as the introvert in this duo here.
Hey.
My goodness. This man.
Go ahead.
All right. Speaking for me and us introverts that are listening.
Hallelujah.
Time to yourself is incredibly important, and for everyone really, but a lot of times people will want to tell you not to, I guess, or like try to drag you out of the house or whatever. And that's good. It's good to interact. It's good to be social.
Yep, drag all of your friends out of their homes. I'm sorry. Go right ahead. My
Again, y'all, still looking for that new co-host. All right. And then, but it's important that that, if you need that alone time, that you should take it. You know what I mean? Don't feel obligated to not spend time with you. Spend time with you, you spending time with you.
That's deep.
And you spending time with, your thoughts, spending time with God, I mean, technically that wouldn't count as being alone, but you know what I mean. Not around other humans per se. And yeah, that's about it.
One final question.
Sure.
What is your opinion on the majority of the listeners listening right now using their free time to listen to the Fly podcast?
Oh. I think that it's a great idea. I think it's great. Am I biased? No.
No.
So
no. Not at all. I'll just be hitting that button.
The reason I think it's great is because what would you be doing otherwise?
Cleaning, driving, in silence.
But you're doing the same thing. Yes. In silence. Or what would you be listening to otherwise? Who knows,
madness.
Bro? Who knows? But we always got you with something.
Got you.
The weekend, bro. That's when you're cleaning anyway. So it's like, here we are.
He said they listening to The Weekend.
No.
Save
best not be.
Your tears for... All right.
Best be listening to. Anyway, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
And I think that it's such a great idea that you should probably tell somebody that it's a great idea. So, again, I think we're going to be doing this for a few episodes. If you don't like it, I'm so sorry. I'm still gonna do it.
The call to action.
Yes, the call to action. If you have an episode that you really like, or maybe now that we're doing the blitzes consistently, you're like, oh, somebody would really like a shorter episode. I would show them the podcast, but these episodes are so long. But now we have the blitzes, which are half the time. So if you feel like this episode is a little long, it's half the time of a regular episode. And maybe someone would be able to ingest that more, digest that more. Send it. Let people know. Let your friends know. If you go to another church, let your church mates know. If you have people that like podcasts, tell them. You know what I mean? Like, tell everybody, because that'd be super cool. I don't know necessarily why we don't need more people to listen. Like, we know y'all listen.
Yeah, we do.
And that's about it.
Yeah.
But it's just cool, to have a ministry grow like that. You know what I mean? To be able to impact more and more people, because at the end of the day, that's what this podcast is for. This podcast isn't necessarily to be something cool for you guys to listen to. Like, it is something cool for y'all to listen to.
Just the coolest.
It is the coolest, but that's a side effect. That's just happened on accident. But what we're really trying to do is spread, God's word, obviously, the message, what we supposed to be doing as Christians. You feel me?
I feel you.
So yeah, let somebody know. And we appreciate you guys a lot.
Yeah.
Anything else?
We're glad that you're listening. But if you need some time to do something else, pause me right now. Did you do it? I guess you won't know because you're paused. I don't know what I'm waiting for, because it's not like I'm passing in real time.
Y'all.
But
thank y'all so much.
Yes.
We appreciate you.
Yes.
Thanks for listening. And
leave comments.
Leave comments, yes. We read all of them. I promise we read every single comment.
It's not that hard. There's not too many.
We only got like 4.
Yeah.
Anyway, we read them all, though. For sure, we read them all. They might not all reflect themselves in the episodes, especially since, there are so many and we only make so many, like one episode a week. But that doesn't mean we're ignoring them. We're definitely trying to integrate what you guys are suggesting into the episodes. Facts. So keep commenting, keep saying stuff, keep requesting topics that you feel like you would like to hear. Also request topics that you feel like someone that you want to hear the podcast would like to hear or needs to hear, whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That'd be cool too. Where
recommend topics that you would like to share with others. If you're like,
Facts.
man, I wish the podcast talked about this so I could show it to them.
Then yeah, do that. But
and
yeah, thank
pray
you so
for
much.
us. We need prayer just like everyone else.
Yes, we do. I pray for the podcast all the time.
All the time.
I don't know if y'all know that, but I do. I'm sure Elijah does too. Where it's like,
half the time it's
help
out of
us.
fear.
Help us.
Yeah, but
please.
But yes, because I do want to see this podcast get maximized.
Maximum. All right.
Yeah. All right.
Thank
Love you
guys.
guys.
Love y'all. And peace.